Welcome to the Iraqi Dinar Update channel, your trusted source for the latest news, analysis, and insights on the Iraqi dinar. We provide up-to-date information on exchange rates, economic developments, and key financial trends affecting Iraq's currency. Whether you're an investor, trader, or simply keeping an eye on the market, our channel delivers accurate reports, expert opinions, and government policy updates to keep you informed. Stay tuned for real-time updates and in-depth discussions on the future of the Iraqi dinar. The trajectory of the Iraqi dinar's reinstatement hinges on several critical events shaping the nation's financial and geopolitical landscape. The United States has taken a firm stance, emphasizing that Iraq must address the issue of Iranian-backed militias operating within its borders. Washington's policy on Iraq is deeply intertwined with its broader Middle Eastern strategy, where countering Iranian influence remains a central priority. The pressure from the U.S. is not merely rhetorical, it is backed by economic and diplomatic leverage that could significantly affect Iraq's monetary reform process. Iraq finds itself at a crossroads, with its financial system caught between internal challenges and external demands. The reinstatement of the dinar requires stability, transparency, and adherence to international financial standards, including compliance with anti-money laundering measures and the prevention of illicit financial flows linked to Iran. The U.S. has made it clear that Iraq must reverse its trajectory from being perceived as an Iranian proxy state, which has long been a point of contention in Washington's foreign policy circles. The Biden administration, as well as previous U.S. governments, have consistently expressed concerns over the extent of Tehran's influence in Iraq's military and economic affairs. The presence of Iranian-backed militias in Iraq is not a recent phenomenon but rather a deeply embedded issue that has shaped Iraq's post-2003 landscape. These groups, some of which are integrated into Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces, PMF, have wielded significant power, both militarily and politically. While the Iraqi government has sought to assert control over these factions, challenges remain. The U.S. argues that as long as these militias operate with relative autonomy and maintain financial ties to Tehran, Iraq's economic sovereignty remains compromised. This, in turn, complicates efforts to reinstate the dinar at a stable and internationally recognized rate. One of the most pressing concerns for the U.S. is the extent to which Iranian-backed factions influence Iraq's banking system. Reports suggest that certain financial institutions have facilitated illicit transactions that circumvent U.S. sanctions on Iran. This has led to Washington imposing restrictions on multiple Iraqi banks, limiting their access to dollar transactions. The U.S. Treasury Department has been actively monitoring and blacklisting banks suspected of funneling money to Iran, a move that has created additional hurdles for Iraq's financial sector. The Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, under pressure from both domestic and international stakeholders, has attempted to implement reforms to mitigate these risks. However, progress has been slow, largely due to resistance from entrenched interests that benefit from the existing financial networks. The reinstatement of the Iraqi dinar is not merely a monetary policy decision, it is a geopolitical maneuver that requires careful navigation of Iraq's regional and international relations. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, and World Bank have underscored the importance of structural reforms in Iraq's banking sector to ensure compliance with global financial standards. The IMF's Article 4 consultations with Iraq have consistently highlighted the need for a diversified economy, reduced reliance on oil revenues, and strengthened financial governance. These recommendations align with U.S. objectives but require significant political will from Baghdad to implement effectively. The current U.S. administration's approach to Iraq has been shaped by a combination of diplomatic engagement and economic pressure. While Washington continues to support Iraq's sovereignty, it has also made it clear that financial assistance and economic partnerships are contingent upon Baghdad's willingness to curb Iranian influence. This has placed Iraq's leadership in a delicate position, as it must balance its relationships with both the U.S. and Iran. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has attempted to navigate this complex dynamic by engaging with both Washington and Tehran, seeking to maintain stability while addressing external demands. Iraq's economic future is heavily dependent on the success of its financial reforms. The Central Bank of Iraq has been working to modernize its monetary policies, including efforts to integrate its financial institutions with the global banking system. However, the path to reinstatement is fraught with challenges. One major obstacle is the parallel market for currency exchange, where the gap between the official and black market exchange rates continues to pose a problem. This discrepancy reflects underlying issues in Iraq's economic structure, including corruption, capital flight, and informal financial networks that operate outside regulatory oversight. Public sentiment in Iraq regarding monetary reform is mixed. While there is widespread support for strengthening the dinar, concerns remain about the potential social and economic implications of major policy shifts. Previous currency adjustments have led to uncertainty and speculation, with many Iraqis fearing inflationary pressures or disruptions to their purchasing power. The government must manage these concerns carefully, ensuring that any transition to a new exchange rate regime is gradual and accompanied by measures to protect the most vulnerable segments of society. Looking ahead, the success of Iraq's financial reforms will depend on continued cooperation with international institutions and adherence to best practices in monetary policy. The role of foreign investment in Iraq's economy will also be critical. Attracting capital from global markets requires a stable and predictable economic environment, free from the volatility associated with political interference and security risks. Iraq's ability to reassure investors and demonstrate a commitment to financial stability will play a decisive role in determining the timeline and feasibility of the dinar's reinstatement. The broader regional context also plays a role in shaping Iraq's monetary policy. Relations with Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) countries have improved in recent years, with Iraq seeking to strengthen economic ties with its neighbors. Enhanced trade and investment partnerships with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Kuwait could provide additional support for Iraq's economic stability, reducing its reliance on any single external power. Such diversification in international partnerships aligns with Iraq's long-term strategic interests. Thank you for tuning in to the Iraqi Dinar Update channel. We appreciate your support and engagement as we continue to bring you the latest news, analysis, and updates on the Iraqi dinar. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an important update. Stay connected with us for real-time insights, expert discussions, and market trends. Until next time, stay informed and keep watching for the latest on the Iraqi dinar. See you in the next update.